This PIC has too much rudder overcompensating for the wind. Now the left wheel touches down first. Good, but now he's up on the rudder and he drifts right. Remember, you got to keep flying the airplane even if it's already landed. I'd score that a 6.5. Our next contestant is flying a 172. Bad directional control. Now he lands on the downwind wheel. And now the upwind. And finally gets control of the situation. Well after the plane's already landed. This pilot lucked out, but I can't give him any more than a 3.0. A go-around would have been the safest choice. Here's a T-tail PA-28. He's drifting right. He corrects, and he gets back onto the center line after the plane is on the ground. That rates a 4.0 according to my landometer. Here's a PA-28. Let's just watch, if you can, before we analyze this one in slow-mo. Let's see that one again, okay? The nose is cocked left. He's drifting. The pilot sees he's got to straighten it out. Right rudder. Uh-oh, now it's ballooning. Now the pilot forgets the rudder and tries to fix the flare. Okay, one wheel down. Too bad it was the wrong one. But who needs directional control? That was certainly exciting. I'm feeling generous today. I'll give that a 3.0. We talked about a stabilized approach. This Cessna pilot is demonstrating the opposite of that. Now he lands on the downwind wheel. Now he tries to recover and get on the center line, but the runway got in the way. Check out that side loading. That deserves at least a 3.9. Here's a Citabria. A good wheel landing, and that's good for an 8.9. And here's an excellent example of a 3-point landing. Good control, yes sir. Keeps it on the center line after touchdown. Excellent. That's a 9.3. We're adding in the difficulty factor for the tail wheel. This biplane pilot has the landing set up nicely. A nice 2-point landing on the center line. But now he forgets his directional control. He uses the brake to regain control, but it's still drifting right. It's going to cost points. We'll give an allowance for the aircraft difficulty factor, though, and give the pilot a 5er on that landing. Here's another tail wheel, a Piper Cub. Nothing subtle about that landing, but it was a solid 3-pointer, and the pilot is maintaining directional control after touchdown. These tail dragger pilots know that you're not done flying until the aircraft is parked and tied down. That's an 8.6 rating in my book. Cessna 152s are often flown by low-time pilots, but this PIC has everything under control. See how the pilot keeps the nose wheel off the runway? That's a 9.6 where I come from. Our next contestant is a Grumman Traveler. Okay, holding it off, good nose-high attitude, good directional control before and after touchdown. And throwing out the high and low score, that's good for an 8.5. Here's a Commander. Wham! Do drop in any time. On an aircraft carrier, I'd give that landing at least an 8. And did you see which wheel he landed on? Sorry, Commander, you've been demoted. That's a 2.0 landing where I come from. Kaboom! The nose wheel of this Sierra just took a beating. But look at this. The pilot's going to give himself another chance at making a good landing. Let's slow it down to see what happens next. Hopefully he'll remember a flare is part of all good landings. Now he lands on the downwind tire before switching to the upwind one. This plane has a fairly small wing and high wing loading, so you've got to carry power or airspeed in to make a nice landing. Neither of the two he made on this approach was very good. We'll give him a 3.2 for making a second effort. If you don't control the airspeed, all sorts of bad things can happen while you're floating down the runway waiting to land. This Cessna pilot is trying to stay close to the center line, but the longer he floats, the more he drifts. Finally, the Eagle has landed and received a 4.5 for the sequence. Here's another example of poor control, before and after touchdown. The Cessna pilot drifts way downwind. Now he finally touches down and uses his left brake. So that's what the puff of smoke is from, to try to get the plane headed in the right direction. We'll give it a 4.0.